All right, we'll call the Ways and Means Committee hearing to order. Sharita, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Davis, Alderman Vaccaro,
Present.
Alderwoman Howard.
Here, say here.
Here. Alderwoman Hubbard, Alderwoman Murphy,
Here.
Alderwoman Spencer, Alderman Muhammad, Alderman Odenberg,
Here.
Alderwoman Boyd,
Here.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, Chairman Vollmer.
Present.
6 present, you have quorum.
All right, thank you. We'll hold excuse Alderman until the end of the meeting. Approval of minutes, make a motion to approve the minutes of June 12th, 2019 meeting.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Second.
All right, thank you. Take a- All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, don't need a roll call on that, thank you. Before us, we have two bills. We're going to go to Alderwoman Ingrassia's Board Bill number 79, since I'm on the committee and she's not. She might have other pressing engagements to go to.
I'm happy here.
You're in your happy place.
So please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This board bill establishes an earnings and payroll tax reimbursement for the Build-A-Bear project that will be hopefully going in behind Union Station very soon. The earnings tax, I realize, is sort of the holy grail of revenue for the city, and so we were very thoughtful and deliberative about how this could work well for the city and for Build-A-Bear as well. So it would provide a 50% earnings and payroll tax reimbursement over the term of their lease, which is 10 years. It's estimated to generate about $2.9 million over the course of that time, of which 1.3 million would be rebated back to Build-A-Bear in the form of tenant improvements for their build-out. In a building that's been vacant since Missouri Foundation for Health took over space in the Grove. They have, one of the things I think that's really important to note is that out of their 213 employees, only 30 of them currently live in the city. And so we will be adding the additional number of employees who will be now paying the earnings tax because they'll be working in the city even if they're living in the county. I don't know if, Dale, did you happen to bring the Jonathan's spreadsheet?
Jonathan's here.
Oh, hi. So I'm happy
I
to.
did better than that, I brought Jonathan.
Yeah, better.
I get my briefcase.
Yeah. So
All right, Jonathan, if you wouldn't mind taking a seat.
yeah, I'm happy to answer questions now, or if you want to,
Let's go.
yeah, get some more information from Jonathan, I'm happy to do that. And I have an amendment too.
Are you done with your presentation? You want to take questions at this point?
I can, or I can wait.
Okay, well, if you want to keep proceeding, I think that's fine if you have.
Oh, I feel like you've heard enough from me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, any questions of the sponsors? We go through Alderman Davis and Alderman Vaccaro. Any questions to this point?
No.
All right, Alderman Howard?
So we're giving them 50% of the earnings tax back?
Correct. Earnings and payroll tax.
So they're not paying it, or how does this,
Paying
Yeah.
and rebating it.
They pay it and then it gets rebated back.
how does that work, Jonathan?
It works through the Collector of Revenues office, I believe, so once they have, and I'm sort of speaking out of school, but I think what happens is payments are made, and then I think the company, probably there's paperwork they probably have to file every year for a rebate, and so they'll get refunded up to 50% of their taxes paid.
And is that on the employer and employee taxes? So
Correct.
the employees will pay the taxes?
Because the state collects the taxes, and so then once the city gets the money back, it gets rebated.
And this is going into a specific fund, the rebate, is it correct?
Correct.
Okay, I don't know if she's aware of that.
And the fund is?
Is building improvements for the.
Yeah, it's to offset the debt that they would have at that point for improvements to the building.
And this complies with all the parameters we've set up for.
Right.
Do you have copies of these for people?
I only have
He
the one
passed
that I-
those out yesterday.
Oh, okay.
They
Okay.
were at the
Yeah.
HUD's committee, he passed
I mean, we can make more copies.
Does anybody want me to make copies so you have them in front
You
of
can
you?
send it to me later, I'm just
Okay.
curious.
It
I
scored
don't
a
need it to-
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Make sure I have what you have, so it's consistent.
Looks like it.
Okay.
You can send it later, I'm, that's all I have, I just.
All right, thank you, Alderwoman. Alderwoman Hubbard, any questions?
I have a few questions, I'm sorry, I was late. And so what all are they asking for? It's just the,
This is a reimbursement of the earnings and payroll tax that they pay. So the employer will, and the employees will pay into the system, and then the state sends the city the money back, and then the city will rebate 50% of that amount We think the total will be $2.9 million over 10 years. And then the reimbursement amount will be 1.3, and that will be used for tenant improvements in the building. It's behind Union Station where the Missouri Foundation for Health used to office. And I think this is the first time, at least since I've been down here and probably longer, that a corporate headquarters is actually moving to the city. And I did mention that because the earnings tax is such an important revenue generator for the city, that we were very thoughtful and deliberative about using it at all and how we would use it.
Right, I was gonna ask that, has there been any projects in the past where we have rebated payroll taxes or earnings taxes?
There have been.
I've got a
NGA
list.
most recently, right?
No.
NGA was capturing we captured the earnings tax and the payroll tax on NGA in order to pre-fund the site work.
Okay, well, that makes sense that earnings tax was keeping, what was it, $2 million a year in earnings tax in our coffers, so that.
I think it's
that
also
makes
been
sense.
done was it done for the Clete gas?
I've got a list if you'd like to see them, because I asked about that. We've got
Stiefel?
the ones that are,
Peabody.
if you guys could just hang on for a second.
Yeah, she has.
The active ones that we have right now, Schnucks, 9th Market Street, Wellpoint Companies, Polsinelli, Ralcorp, 501 North Broadway, Lord and Taylor, oh, that's inactive, sorry, Wells Fargo, Andlers, Minkler, Huber and Helm, and NGA. And there are a number of them that are terminated or no longer active.
How many jobs
There's about 300 jobs.
will these be new jobs or just jobs?
They're existing
Transfer?
jobs, but only 30 of the employees currently live in the city, and so we'll be collecting the earnings tax then from the additional people who are living in the county but now working in the city.
Okay.
I think it's important, what's new about this is it's the first time I think we've used it for a company moving into the city. All the others were here and we were trying to retain them, but this one is a new one coming in.
No further questions.
All right, thank you, Alderman. Alderman Murphy, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. We go to Alderman Oldenburg.
No questions, this is a good bill.
All right, thank you. Alderman Boyd.
No questions.
Thank you. Alderman Clark Hubbard, I know you just arrived. If you want.
Yeah, that was a lot of information.
I'm sorry, I don't even know what's the cycle. I'm sorry for being late. And it was because of
Do you want me to just, is it okay if I get her up to speed?
Sure, we could do a quick overview for her, yes.
Okay, so this is the payroll and earnings tax reimbursement for Build-A-Bear. They are in St. Louis County right now. This will be the first time in quite a while that a headquarters is relocating into the city of St. Louis. The total reimbursement value is about $3 million, and then we'll give half of that back to them for tenant improvement. Only 30 of their current employees live in the city, the rest live in the county, so we'll be adding all of that earnings tax for the additional employees who live in the county but now have jobs in the city.
No question.
All right, thank you very much. So at this point, would you like to do something with your amendment or?
I would love to,
All
yes. So if this could, I guess Amendment 1 to Board Bill 79, all of you should have a copy. This basically puts protections in for the city in the event that for some reason Build-A-Bear would terminate their lease before the 10 years is up or relocate out of the city and somewhere else. And they would be required at that point to pay back the portion of incentive that they have already received. And I was happy that they were willing to do that just because I think it's, we don't want to be giving away something and have a Peabody coal type of situation happen. And so this puts in some protections. And so that's the amendment I would like to introduce.
All right, so we're on page 5, section 8. And after the following, okay, everyone has the amendment in front of them?
Yes.
Okay, give us a moment to read through every,
Sure.
let me know when you're okay. So we're inserting,
That just kind of shows a hard copy.
okay. Oh, so it's going completely after,
The end of section
okay.
It's on page 6.
So actually, at that whole section on page 5, section 8 is staying intact. And at the end of it on page 6, this paragraph would be the addition to it, so we're not
Correct.
taking anything out, we're adding,
Correct.
all right?
Add.
Okay.
So it'll just be part of section 8.
Right.
So, okay, if we, once we're done, if someone, we go around with questions of the sponsor on the amendment. Alderman Vaccaro, any questions?
No, I was just gonna make a motion, we put it in there, but
We'll go around real quick, just to make sure everybody's fine with it, and then we will. Alderman Howard, any questions of the amendment? Alderman Hubbard?
No question.
Alderman Murphy?
No questions, I'm glad you thought of it.
Alderman Oldenburg?
Just a quick question, Alderwoman, and this is great. I think this shows compromise from both the sponsor and you. But if they relocate from the city during the term of their agreement and they fail to cure that breach, did the specifics of that arrangement, curing a breach, I mean, you cure it by paying us, so I don't know if that language exists in a redevelopment agreement or somewhere outside of the bill. Just as if they
If we have one.
relocate out of the city and they
Well,
fail to cure
okay, well,
such breach.
John, if you wouldn't mind giving your chair, we'll have him, or there's a chair right next to Christine, you can sit there, John. Please take that chair and introduce yourself, because we are all on camera, everyone remember to smile.
There's a way to lower that if you don't
Oh,
want to.
I'm good.
Just state your name and then,
Eric Fensel, I'm Chief Administrative Officer with Build-A-Bear.
all right.
So really, the only way you can cure the breach is to relocate back in the city. So if we get a notice that says you've moved, we would know that. We'd say,
Okay.
okay, we'll move back.
So it sounds like there were conversations around that.
Yes.
That's good.
Okay, no further questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Alderman Boyd, any questions?
Oh, me.
You can stay.
That one.
Right.
They may have a right, that's what, yeah.
I made sure of that.
The only question that I'm really asking is not regards to this, is the minority participation in hiring. So how many do they have, or?
They have a really incredible number of women of color in leadership positions and women in general at Build-A-Bear. Sorry, my cat spilled water on my file this morning.
That's okay.
It's in here somewhere. I believe it's 73% of the employees are women in leadership positions and 55 are women of color. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, no.
I'm sorry, I've got it here somewhere, just be patient with me. And thank you for asking about it, because it was something I thought was important as well.
Yeah.
Here we go, yeah. So 73%, 102 employees are women in leadership positions, and 55% are women of color in leadership, or in, yeah,
In leadership.
leadership positions.
That's good numbers, huh?
What about the workforce?
The workforce themselves, do you have numbers on that?
You're talking beyond, like, around the
Beyond, because you
country?
mentioned the leadership position, so I was wondering,
So,
like,
yeah, so
how
within-
diverse is there?
Within the headquarters building, so stores are completely different, but within the headquarters, 65% of our employees are female, and 24% are female of color, of the total employees within the headquarters.
I'd be happy to get you numbers.
Okay.
I don't think I think I asked for more broad information in the way that my question looks on this email. They gave me just women,
Okay.
women of color in
That's
leadership
okay.
positions, but
Okay.
I will make sure before we're on the floor, and before the next meeting, that
Just send those.
I send those
Okay.
out. Yep, absolutely.
Any further questions?
That's all.
All right, Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
No question.
All right, thank you, I have no questions. So does anyone entertain a motion to,
I'll make that motion, we.
Second.
okay, so.
To add to, for
Sure.
the
Right,
amendment.
to amend, yeah,
That's it.
to amend section 8 of Board Bill.
Carol, all right.
Yeah, so it's amend section 8 of Board Bill 79 to include amendment 1.
Okay, that was seconded by Alderwoman Howard. Sharita, please take the roll.
Alderwoman Davis, Alderman Vaccaro,
Aye.
Alderwoman Howard. Aye. Alderwoman Hubbard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Murphy.
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer, Alderman Muhammad, Alderman Oldenburg,
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd,
Hi.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Chairman Vollmer.
Aye.
8 aye votes.
So we've made an approved amendment 1 to add to board bill, so number 79. So we would now, if there's any further questions of the sponsor, make a motion to entertain board bill 79 as amended.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Second.
All right.
Previous roll.
Previous roll, hearing no objection, previous roll. Alderwoman, you've succeeded. Good luck on the floor.
So we got the next one. Yes, good job.
Certain samples for everybody's grandchildren.
That's right, yeah, that's right. Green for me, please.
Maybe they could do a
What were they
Joe
were talking about? I
Carl.
was gonna ask, they're talking about employees. I said, remember, it's called Build a Bear. You build your own.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So we don't know how many
All
people
right.
of color will be there.
With that, we will move on to, hold on, we're not done yet.
Build your own.
We'll move on to board bill 68, sponsored by myself.
There you go.
And do we have the folks from, where did, okay, David abandoned you? All right, let's see. I'll get it. Okay. If you would like to take a chair up there.
Absolutely.
And we'll have David join you. Well, board bill 68 is a SID project involving the Ackerman Toyota development. That's okay. Thank you, David. So this is, if you're familiar with the old MSD site that SLDC had, Ackerman Toyota purchased the property, has since torn it all down and created a brand new store. They did have some difficulty designing and building the store because there is a nice St. Louis City water main running right through the middle of it that they had to build around. They could not move it, change it, or do anything, so it did cause them extra expense and things. We've actually done a TIF for this. It was approved in 2015. The TIF has gone through HUDs. We are now sit before you with a SID, and I will now turn over to the wonderful people from Lewis Rice, David Sweeney, and Missy.
We'll have the smart one go. Missy McCoy can kind of explain.
Yeah, absolutely. So as part of the initial approvals that were all done several years ago, I think 2015 through 2017, a redevelopment agreement was executed in March 2017. Excuse me, anticipating TIF for the project. And so there's another kind of board bill coming along at the same time as this board bill 68 that approves the SID. And so the SID was contemplated in the redevelopment agreement. And so the revenues from the SID, so those that are generated from the sales and use tax on sales at the dealership, which do not include motor vehicles, but do include sales on parts and things of that nature. So sales and use taxes from that will go to a portion of the EATs for the TIF. And then they will also, Ackerman has agreed to do a special assessment. So even though they're still paying, normal taxes on the property as improved, they will pay a special assessment as well as part of the SID to contribute to the TIF so that the TIF can be paid off in, a reasonable amount of time. So the purpose of the SID is to approve a sales and use tax for any sales at the property, absent motor vehicles, and then to also approve a special assessment for the property as well, both of which will contribute to the TIF and hopefully pay down the TIF sooner.
All right. We will go around and take questions. Alderman Vaccaro, any questions of myself or the intelligent people at that end of the table?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, thank you, sir. From there we go to, where'd my little list go? And Alderwoman Howard.
I just have a question. We have on page 2, line 4, there's some holes there. It says there was a public hearing conducted.
Which is the hearing today.
Which is,
Right.
so like with special business districts or anything like that, we leave blank, and then we tie in the public hearing with the committee hearing, so it meets both
That's
requirements.
fine, I didn't know if there was.
And that'll be adjusted before it goes before rules and engrossment.
Yes.
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 And you, as a member, you're well aware.
All
right,
This
you.
off at the pass, okay.
Thank you, Alderwoman.
Okay. Alderman Hubbard, any questions?
No question.
Alderman Murphy?
No, asked and answered. Thank you.
All right. Alderman Oldenburg?
Just real quick, and I think you may have said this, but I was maybe reading, the uses, because it's already completed, but this is a reimbursement of what were the nuanced infrastructure improvements that were needed. at the site?
Correct.
Okay, so this will reimburse those costs?
Yes, so it will reimburse the developer through the TIF for those costs that were incurred in the construction of the dealership.
Got it, okay. No further
All right.
questions.
Alderman Boyd.
No question.
All right, Alderman Clark Hubbard.
No question.
All right, no, thank you all. And yes, so the other cars will not be more expensive because of this than they were.
Right.
No,
But-
no effect on the cars.
So, and if you haven't been by there, you got a ribbon cutting ceremony for
Really
really
good
go.
job.
It is a
Yeah.
great use of the site. Please, don't feel obligated to buy a car, but go by and take a look at it. It's amazing, how they set the architecture up to work around what they had. So with that,
I will make a
no further
motion.
questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we pass Board Bill 68 out with a due pass recommendation.
We have a second from the 14th Ward Alderman.
Previous roll.
Previous roll.
Hearing no objection, previous roll, we will pass this out. Thank you, and we have nothing here today. Ladies and gentlemen, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.